And a very good evening to you. I'm Sophia Cambridge with this Sunday, July 8th edition of the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, Tropical Storm Beryl is no longer posing a direct threat to Barbados, and as such, the storm watch has been discontinued. Despite that discontinuation, however, there is still the possibility of some pockets of moderate to heavy showers and occasional gusty winds. Beryl, as you know, is about 210 kilometers to the northeast of Barbados, moving at 75 miles per hour. We'll have more on Beryl a little later in our newscast. Well, it has taken 10 years, but the protocol on contingent rights has finally been signed, and Prime Minister Mia Motley is referring to it as the most significant event in the history of CARICOM since the CSME came into effect. CARICOM leaders signed the protocol on contingent rights last Friday night at the end of the 39th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community, which took place in Montego Bay, Jamaica. The protocol allows the dependents of skilled nationals to live and work in the same country.
This is where it matters. This is where it makes a difference to the lives and decisions of people. And I think that the media can work with us to communicate in a tangible way what this means for every Caribbean citizen who belongs to a country that is signatory to the single market.
And Prime Minister Motley says prior to the just-ended CARICOM summit, the Council of Finance Ministers had not met for 5 years. She says they'll meet again in September right here in Barbados to examine the critical role of competitiveness issues for the single market.
The integration of our capital markets, the financial services architecture, the common policy for investment and the code for investment, such that we are not competing against each other in a mad race to the bottom. And these things are critical towards being able to make the market work more effectively for those who want to invest across the region.
Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Alan Chastanet, is praising Prime Minister Motley for her work in bringing unity to the Caribbean community. And he says it occurred during her very first meeting as leader of Barbados. He says she was instrumental in leading discussions regarding the CSME.
I think that, again, Prime Minister Motley is being very modest in that what she's done in bringing some direction here, particularly with CSME and with COFAB, is important. When the world hit a cliff with their financial recession in 2008, 2009, they went from the G7 to the G20, and the G20 met on a quarterly basis to resolve issues. And I think that there was that same kind of commitment that was given to her by all the members, that as often as we need to meet to get through the decisions that we have to, find ways in which we can re-stimulate our economy.
Well, the promises made to the people of St. John will be fulfilled. That's the word coming from Parliamentary Representative and Minister in the Ministry of Housing and Lands, Charles Griffith. He gave the assurance during a Thanksgiving service at the Unity Wesleyan Holiness Church. Rianne Phillips has more.
Minister in the Ministry of Housing, Lands and Rural Development Charles Griffith created history by becoming the first member of the Barbados Labour Party to win the St. John seat in over 50 years. Thanking God, his team and constituents for making it possible, he pledged to serve the people and bring improvements to the area by making election promises a reality.
The Pool Woods is a project that we need to bring into fruition in terms of creating a soft spot in St. John. It will happen. On the campaign trail, I would have promised residents in Welch, St. John, that I would facilitate the process where they can purchase the land at Welch under the Freehold Tenantry Act. And this evening, I'm having a town hall meeting with those particular individuals in Welch to ensure that the process would have been started. Because similar to my political leader, if we promise it, we're going to deliver.
During the service, advice was offered to the MP in song and in word.
Hold out your candle for all to see it. Take your candle and go light your world.
You will commit yourself to all, but your commitment first is to the people who are most vulnerable in this society. And I want to wish you all the best.
I hope and pray to you, Charles, that you will continue to serve God, have Him in your breast. That is what took me through to these 77 years. And you must continue to hold the people of St. John at your breast. They walk with you. They belong to you.
Pastor Stephen Gittins likened the MP's campaign to the Battle of David and Goliath.
David was up against a formidable foe. So were you. He was up against a seasoned soldier. So were you. He was up against a venomous vanquisher. So were you.
Pastor Gittins also urged the MP to remain humble and honor God at all times. Rianne Phillips, Cbc News.
Minister of Health Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic has praised Cancer Support Services for its work in healthcare and for being a refuge for cancer patients. He made the point at the group's 7th annual conference entitled Surviving Alive. The work of Cancer Support Services is also more critical, according to Lieutenant Colonel Bostic, at this time, given the number of people who are living with cancer.
Cancer is currently one of the most prevalent public health challenges for this country. It is second only to cardiovascular disease as one of the leading causes of illness and death in Barbados, with the main cancer sites of concern being prostate, colon, breast, and cervix. On a regional note, in December 2016, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention published a morbidity and mortality weekly report on cancer for the English and Dutch-speaking Caribbean for the period 2003 to 2013. This report showed that prostate and lung cancer were the leading cause of deaths in men, while breast and cervical cancer were the leading cause of deaths in women.